Vajroli Mudra, even though living an extraordinary life without observing the yoga regulations, still, if one practices the Vajroli Mudra, that person becomes possessed of all the siddhis. Kutilangi, Kundalini Bhujangi, Shakti, Ishwari, and Arundhati are all synonymous for Kundalini. As one forces open a door with a key, so the yogi should force open the door to moksha by the power of Kundalini. Parameshwari, that is the primeval great goddess, sleeps closing with a mouth, the hole through which one should go to the Brahmarandra, that is the seat of Brahman, when there is no pain or misery. That Kundalini Shakti, which the yogis know, sleeps above the Kanda, the place near the navel where the nadis unite and separate. It gives mukti to the yogis and bondage to the fools. He who knows her knows yoga. When the Kundalini is dormant, in a low vibratory state, you only understand sensual and sexual life. But when it is in the subtle state, it gives liberation. He knows the Shakti which is hidden in all of us. Kundalini is described as being coiled like a serpent. He who causes that Shakti to move from the Mooladhara upwards becomes free without doubt. Between the Ganga and the Yamuna, there sits the young widow practicing austerity. She should be seized by force. That leads to the supreme seat of Vishnu. If you are a yogi, you must be able to correctly interpret such things. Ida is the sacred Ganga. Pingala is the river Yamuna. Between Ida and Pingala, there sits the young widow Kundalini. Why is the Kundalini Shakti called widow here? It is because she is not with Shiva. Shiva is in the Sahasrara, so she is alone, a widow. Simple language is used, but it is all very difficult for Westerners to understand on their own. You should awaken the sleeping serpent by taking hold of its tail. The Shakti leaving off sleep goes up with the force by Hatha Yoga. How do you take hold and shake its tail? By bandhas and mudras. Having inhaled through the right nostril, that is the Pingala, the recumbent serpent should be taken hold by the process of paridhana and made to move daily for an hour and a half, both morning and evening. This refers to alternate nostril breathing, Surya Beda, and other pranayamas. Then he should manipulate the Shakti for about an hour and a half at both morning and evening to lights. You must shake the tail for an hour and a half. The Kanda is 12 inches above the anus and 4 inches both ways in extension. It has been described as soft and white as if it is covered with a cloth. It is the approximate area where all the plexuses are joined together at the Mooladhara. This is where the energy is dormant. It is soft and white because in the spinal cord there is also white matter. This was written thousands of years ago. This is because their spinal cords are quite different. From the Kanda spring the 72,000 nadis. This is like a battery with wires going to the numerous areas. This is why when the nadis are not purified properly by bandhas and pranayama etc., the prana goes through wrong nadis and you get psychological problems. Seated in the Vajrasana posture, firmly take hold of the feet near the ankles and thereby put pressure on the Kanda. This is really what we call Siddhasana. Sometimes it was called Vajrasana by different teachers. This is because Vajrasana literally means energy asana. So it was applied to any asana which was used for the raising of the energy. Vajra was the thunderbolt weapon of Indra. Having thus caused Kundalini to move after, assuming Vajrasana, perform Bastrika Kumbhaka. They should soon awaken Kundalini. This is Shakti Chalani. He should then contract the sun that is near the navel and then cause the Kundalini to move. Even though he is in the mouth of death, where can there be any fear of death for such a one? What is meant by contract the sun? Uddiyana Bandha. This is an extremely advanced practice after years of training. It is not necessary to go deeply into the subject here. If this is practiced early, there will be no results because of the existence of blocks and impurities in the Sushumna. When Kundalini is moved fearlessly for 2 muhurtas, she who has entered the Sushumna is drawn a little more. Waves of energy start moving slowly upwards. By this Kundalini certainly leaves the mouth of the Sushumna and the prana goes naturally to Sushumna. So, one should move daily the Arundhati, that is Kundalini, that is calmly sleeping. By moving her, the yogi is freed from all diseases. That yogi by whom Shakti is moved is blessed with all the siddhis. What is the use of speaking so much? He playfully conquers time. Mere speaking is not sufficient. You must practice. Only a yogi who is celibate, who consumes a moderate and nutritious diet, and who constantly practices the awakening of the Kundalini attains perfection within 40 days. This is possible only if many of your impurities have been removed in past incarnations. Then a bit of practice and perhaps an Om from the Guru might be sufficient for this to take place. But if it is not going to happen, then you should keep practicing your sadhana until you find success in your next life or in your 10th life from now. Sometimes your old karma may come and create all kinds of obstacles such as sickness, etc. Sometimes the karma burns very slowly. When you start intense sadhana, then things may become very intense for you. You may think that you're getting worse, but actually you're burning your karma very quickly in a very short time. Whenever I go into seclusion, most of my karma comes up to be burnt out. I developed frostbite, an accident to my knee, and other things. Having moved the Kundalini, he should practice in particular the Bastrika Kumbhaka. Where can there be fear of death from Yama for the yogi who practices in this manner constantly? Besides the practice of Kundalini, what other means is there for clearing away the impurities of the 72,000 nadis? By preserving in the practice along with asanas, pranayama and mudras, the middle nadi, Sushumna, becomes straight. With firm concentration of the mind, he who practices samadhi without sleep, that is being alert, he acquires various siddhis conferred by Rudrani or by such superior mudras. There is no Prithvi, that is firmness in asanas, without Raja Yoga. There is no night, that is Kumbhaka, without the Raja Yoga. The various mudras become useless without Raja Yoga. All the processes with regard to the breath, that is prana, should be gone through with a mind concentrated on it. The wise man should not allow his mind to wander away during that time. Thus have the 10 mudras been described by Adinatha. By any one of these, one possessed or self-restraint might obtain great siddhis. He who teaches the secret of these mudras as handed down by tradition is the real Guru and can be called Ishvara in human form. The person carefully chooses the words of the Guru and attentively practices the mudras and thus attains siddhis. This is the art of deceiving death.